Okay, how to lose weight. Check this out. So, losing weight comes down to 4 different things that I teach in my online course. Number 1, it comes down to calories, which is pretty much the amount of food that you consume. Number 2, it comes down to your macros. Now, your macros stand for your macronutrients, which is the amount of protein, the amount of carbs, the amount of fat that you consume. Number 3, it's going to come down to how are you working out? Your training. Are you training type 1 fibers or are you training type 2 muscle fibers? If you don't know what that is, that's a problem. You need to know whether you're training type 1 or type 2. And then number 4, it's going to be motivation, consistency. Once you have a plan, it doesn't mean anything if you can't stay consistent with that plan for longer than even just 3 months. You want to keep a plan for years. A lot of those people that you see on Instagram, that you see on Facebook, that you see in these different fitness magazines, they have interwoven what they do into their personality so much that it's just a part of who they are. And that's when things get really, really, really exciting, because you're not worrying about the food anymore because you just enjoy what you're eating. You're not worrying about the working out because you enjoy what you're doing and you're able to stay motivated for longer. That's when you see really, really long change. Now, in the beginning, when it comes down to creating a plan, you need to, first off, like I just said, figure out how many calories you need to be consuming for your body to change. And that comes down to 2 real important numbers. If you don't know what these 2 numbers are, you're going to have a more difficult time losing weight or building muscle or whatever you might be doing. So I want you to imagine this house here, which looks terrible, I know. I've got this house. The floor of this house I'm going to call BMR. The ceiling of this house I'm going to call TDEE. This stands for total daily energy expenditure. It's a really fancy way of saying basically the amount of energy you expend on a daily basis. The total energy you expend on a daily basis, okay? That's your TDEE. Now, the BMR stands for basal metabolic rate. Basically, it's your rate of metabolism when you're just sitting there. We're not doing anything. So imagine like a guy just laying here on the ground, literally in a comatose state. He's not doing anything. That's going to be the number of calories your body consumes just to survive, just to stay alive. That's important because that also means that's the number of calories I need to be eating to stay healthy, okay? So you never want to eat below your basal metabolic rate. I'll tell you here in a second how you figure those numbers out. So I'm going to extend the ceiling and the floor of this room. So if the floor of this room is my basal metabolic rate, how many calories I'm burning just laying there, then the ceiling is how many calories I'm burning based on how active I am. So if I'm really, really, really active, then this line is way up here. I mean, it's off the charts. If I'm Michael Phelps, or if I'm some pro athlete, or if I work out a ton, it's way up here. If I'm a couch potato, it kind of comes down a little bit lower, okay? So basically, how active I am is going to dictate how high my total daily energy expenditure is. And that should make sense. So what we want to figure out, though, is what do these numbers mean in the real world? What do I use these numbers to decide as far as how many calories I want to consume? Well, let's take a look at something. If I eat above my total daily energy expenditure, I'm going to get bigger because I'm eating past what my body is burning based on my activity level. If I eat below my BMR, which is what a lot of people do, a lot of people work out a ton and they eat below their basal metabolic rate, or they eat really, really close to it. This is the kind of the danger zone, okay? You can go there occasionally, but you don't want to stay there, because what happens is your body thinks you're starving. So it's going to hold on to all the fat. It's going to release a bunch of stress hormones. Everything is going to start going out of whack. You're going to burn a bunch of your lean muscle tissue, which is what you don't want to have happen. You're going to be really, really frustrated because you're not eating that much food, which isn't fun. You're not seeing results, which isn't fun. And when you go back to eating any kind of regular food, because your metabolism has slowed down so much, when you go back to eating normal food, normal amounts of food, you're going to gain a bunch of weight. And you're going to be really frustrated. You're going to think, nothing works for me. Nothing ever works for me. It's because you're not eating enough food, okay? This is where you want to live, right here, right here, right here. I'm above what my body needs to survive. I'm below what my body needs based on how active I am. And this is where your body burns fat relatively easier, not easy, but easier than up here or wherever you might want to be. This is kind of the sweet spot, because if you know your macros, if you know your BMI and your TDE and you set your macros at a certain level, then you can burn fat and still have some of your favorite foods. It doesn't have to be low carb. It doesn't have to be low fat. It doesn't have to be low protein. You can really cater the plan based on whatever you want to do if these numbers are on point. So I personally really like carbs and I really like fat. So my plans for myself have steak and eggs and rice and chicken and oatmeal and fruit because I like my carbs, I like my fats. But if I'm cutting for a movie shoot or a photo shoot, then I'm going to drop my calories below my TDE safely down here somewhere. I'll still cut and still have the foods I like and still be enjoying the process. And that's what you want. You want to be able to enjoy the process. Anyways, it's just a real brief introduction as far as how this thing works, BMR TDE. I'd love to help you out. If you want my help, you can check me out at Strongfire. You can shoot me an email at strongfirefitness@gmail.com. I have an online course that I walk people through, and I can send you the link for that as well. I'll also put the link in the description of this video. But yeah, this is priority number 1. I'll put another video up with priority number 2 as far as the macro breakdown and working out and whatnot. I hope that's helpful. If you don't know these numbers, guys, you're just shooting in the dark, okay? You want to know these numbers so that way you can start looking at things objectively, have good data from which to make changes to your meal plans and go from there. Anyways, I hope that was helpful. You guys enjoy your day. Thank you.